In this forecast, significant flash flooding could occur in South Carolina and California today. A huge pattern change is going to bring a big cool down and more rain. Tropical Storm K is about to bring some big impacts to California, some of them being positive. All of that and more is coming right up. Let's first begin with that flooding potential for today across the southeastern United States. As of right now, there is actually a moderate threat for flash flooding. It's really right along the East Coast, anywhere from about Savannah, Georgia, back up near Charleston. Will have the best potential for some flash flooding today. Some of these areas could see as much as 8 to 9 inches of rain in isolated locations. So an area to watch for very closely today. Just outside of that, we have some other areas with a slight risk for flash flooding. That actually goes back into areas like eastern Louisiana, and it also goes down the west coast of Florida, down to areas like Tampa. Again, the big concern today with any of these storms will be flash flooding. There's also a chance for some isolated tornadoes as well. And there's also another area for flash flooding today. That would be another moderate threat in areas in Southern California. This is along the Interstate 10 and Interstate 8 stretch. There is another potential for some flooding today. Rainfall totals will range anywhere from potentially 2 to as much as maybe 6 inches of rain in some isolated locations. That is all from the remnants of Hurricane K, which is now a tropical storm. That is moving off to the northwest. It's eventually going to turn off to the west, so not all of California will see rain today, but there will be another potential for some flooding. More on that here in just a second. Now here's a look at the timing across Georgia and Carolina for today. We will see scattered showers and storms throughout the morning hours if you're watching in the morning. Eventually going into the afternoon, we'll start to see some more widespread action across areas, again, anywhere from Savannah, Georgia, back up through Charleston. This is the best potential for some stationary showers and storms, which will equivalent to the potential for some flooding today. Eventually going into the mid to late afternoon hours, that rain will continue at moderate to potentially heavy levels, and eventually going into the evening hours and into the overnight hours, some scattered showers may still remain. Additional rainfall totals potentially between 1 to 2 inches may still occur after about 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. Eventually going into tomorrow morning, more showers and storms still continue even through the morning commute tomorrow. So if you're commuting tomorrow, make sure you're staying safe on the roadways. Again, anywhere from Charleston to Savannah, there very well could be some exits as well closed. Eventually going into Saturday, more showers and storms. None of this is forecasted to bring significant flooding to those areas, luckily. So it looks like a one and done basically, at least for today. Here's a look at the rainfall totals currently being estimated by at least the HRR model, which has shown some areas to go as almost as high as 10 inches of rain. You'd see near Savannah, Georgia, for example, it's estimating between 8 to 12 inches. Again, that's just one estimate, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. We very well could see some significant rainfall totals. Other areas, again, most areas should see anywhere from about 3 inches of rain, maybe up to 5 inches. But again, isolated amounts definitely could be higher with this sort of setup. Here's a look at the severe weather potential as well for today. There is actually a marginal threat. Well, why am I talking about this? Well, there's a potential that we could see a couple of tornadoes as well out of a couple of those storms. So keep that in mind. A very low chance. Brief and weak occurrences are possible. I would not be concerned beyond that, though. Here is a look at the jet stream. We have a big pattern change coming this weekend. That will bring cooler weather, and some of you are already feeling that. If you're up in North Dakota, there are big temperature differences in those areas today, if you've not already noticed. Temperatures down into like the 60s in some areas, and that's also bringing some snow to Wyoming today. So higher elevations are beginning to see their first snow of the season. But going into this weekend, that trough will start to actually develop and dip down here into areas in the Midwest. That could bring some potential for some showers and storms to areas all across the Ohio Valley, eastern Midwest, and even into the northeastern United States. Going into early next week, that might bring even an isolated potential for some severe weather. Beyond that, that little trough as well down near Florida, that's going to continue to bring some rain for the next couple of days before it starts to weaken out. But eventually going to next week, again, that trough will bring some showers and storms to New England. Eventually a ridge will build into the United States, likely preventing most storm activity midweek, and eventually going into the later portions of the week, we'll start to see maybe another pattern change in the western United States that might bring some more showers and storms and potentially even a bigger cool down than what we've already seen. So definitely something to watch for very closely. Here's a look at Tropical Storm K. As of right now, it is moving very slowly now to the west. Here's California, by the way. There is some showers and storms now kind of starting to develop up there. The outer bands are starting to reach areas like Southern California, so beneficial rain is ahead. Here's a look currently at that wind field that's almost reaching actually to California. It's very close to it, but otherwise just gusty winds for the most part expected for Southern California. It will become a tropical depression most likely by Saturday, and again going into like early next week, it should start to weaken out. It most likely will not really do much beyond about today or tomorrow. The rain is going to start to kind of weaken as it goes off to the west slowly. Here's a look at the future radar across these areas. Beginning with this morning, we'll start to again see some of these outer bands start to reach. They're going to be going off to the northwest, so those in areas like Southern California probably have the best chance chance for rain today and as well as tomorrow. That's why there's a concern for some flash flooding, as those outer bands, if they're able to stay stationary enough and bring enough rainfall, we very well could see potentially some significant flooding in those areas. And eventually heading into probably Sunday, we'll start to see some of those outer bands actually reach potentially as far north as areas like San Francisco. So some beneficial rainfall potentially going into Saturday and Sunday. But as I mentioned before, a major cool down is coming to some areas of the United States. For example, the high temperatures today, you can see up in the northern plains, many areas between the 60s and 70s. Some areas in the mountainous regions over in Wyoming could dip down into the 30s and upper 20s. That could bring some snowfall. And as forecasted today, there is a moderate chance for some heavy snowfall from 4 inches and greater in the higher elevations near the Bighorn National Park. So that's going to be something to monitor pretty closely. Some initial snowfall for maybe some of those skiers. Eventually going into Sunday, temperatures will still be fairly nice across a large area of the United States. You can see actually over in Wisconsin, due to the low pressure system that'll be moving through those areas, you can see the temperatures will drop down into the 60s with maybe even some upper 50s for highs. Back over in California, some relief is coming. Temperatures likely to be in the 70s and 80s going into next week. But as of right now, at least Sunday, dipping down into the low 90s. Make sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you've not already. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting and All Dense Repair.